Praise the Lord, guys. This is Prophetess Deborah coming tonight, recording live around the corner from my home. This is Bubblegum. And I got a picture of Tom Hanks from Bosom Buddy. Y'all remember that? How many remember the 80s or remember Bosom Buddy? Go ahead with your own life. Leave me alone. Dun, dun, dun. There's a victim of service. Y'all like this. This is from my Christmas tree. And he turned water into his wife. First miracle of Christ was that he turned water into a hooch. Mary had the hookup, had the baby. That you gave the baby water. It came back. Hooch. So we and we all get stuff. Thank the Lord. Today is Resurrection Sunday. Oh my God. So look at this. This is, y'all know what this is. Do y'all see this? Who that right there? Who that right there? Who that right there? Yeah, we're gonna show you what that is. But top secret stuff here. But I tell you, I try to tell you guys, stuff in advance. The latest stuff that is out. And we do all the stuff that God called for us to do. Batman is in the bag. They were crying. They're like, please bring Joker. I'm sorry to tell y'all for the umpteenth time, Joker is not here with me, but he's at home, and he sends his love. Joker, you know who you are. They're like, I so wish they would quit. But anyway, when we get home, later on, we're going to finish the much-awaited continuation to Friday night sermon, Hair Above My Knees. And I said, ladies, when they're talking about things that they don't understand, what do you say? You don't know the hair above my knees. Oh my. Woo! They don't know that stuff. They don't know that stuff. They don't know that stuff. This is for made members only. We already gone. Oh, give me my bows and buttons and things while you live. You know what I'm saying? God see all that. God can see all that. We were like, is the inspector gonna say that? Because I'm so tired. I said, all this stuff we gotta do. I said, I'm so tired of this stuff. Every time I turn around, they coming and doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, anyway. We thank Jesus. We thank Jesus for his favor. We're still waiting the $10,000 lawsuit. We went and we argued out our side as the plaintiff, and Judge Debbie Turner put it under advisement against Wyandotte Apartment. That just happened. Yeah, on the 25th, that just went down. And I said, we consistently consistently. So y'all know my restaurants. This is not like consistent communication stuff. This is a potpourri of things. Like I said, this is whatever it is. Want to see around here? We are here at the Bubble Gum across from. We're here at Bubble Gum across. We're here from Bubble Gum across from Cosmopolitan Casino. We just love playing a little, and it was not, the normal atmosphere. I had just won some money at the NFL on the NFL game at El Cortez after my matzo ball soup at the El Cortez. It was so sacred. I mean, I even Paul Wilbur, I put on Paul Wilbur, that sing my song Jerusalem Arise, and even had that on while I was playing. It kept on free gameplay. Free. I only had $70 left. I ended with almost $300 for my life. And we're just praising. I'm just praising God and all this stuff. I was in there. I had Sandy Patty on while I was eating my communion soup, the matzo ball soup, the appetizer at the El Cortez, and I just had a time. So I'm back on this side around the corner where I'm regularly over here. I've been here once already. And I'm regularly either at McDonald's, walking through, This is the side, I'm running around my champion for Jesus things and stuff, holding up, going crazy all day, just hit. So now we're at Bubblegum. And on Resurrection Sunday, it's 8:19. Praise it. It's just everything been all in all day. And I've been here before, almost $100 meal. And we've never not paid a day in history. So we don't know what that is. So, the only really mad today is Satan. That's a lot, because over there, that was Life Jerome, the security guard run over there, show me ID. In the middle while you're walking around, I can hear certain people from churches. I'm like, I know who all these is. And come over there, and I'm sitting up there and have to show them ID and be looking at them and then whipping out hundreds, thousands and thousands of dollars, and $40,000 net a year. Everybody know who I am all around the world. Prophetess Gaborim is known to academic star, to my career, to my ministry, evangelism. And I said, now we got tons of internships we're looking at. And I said, the Lord gave to me. We just went through our normal, advisement with our benefit personnel that calls you. And I told her, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I told her my big problem with all this stuff, I don't want to lose my other benefits right away, because you get your trial benefits and stuff. And I said, but that I have to do my internship with my doctorate because of the professor jobs. That is going to want to see something other than you just having a doctorate to be a professor. So I'm going to school to be a professor for graduate studies, not undergraduate. That's different, undergraduate. This is for those with a collection of master's degrees and above and published work, or plan to do published work as a scholar to scholarly journals and things like that. And people like me, 50 plus. In the 50 plus zone, not the little kiddies that really don't know my expertise or what the heck I be talking about. I just look like, what the heck is they talking about? I'm like, that's not what I'm working on in my scholarly research. It's like, And then they be sitting up here, their backup be somebody, another ethnicity. It be high profile. It's like, who is you? And then when it came out, accountability in Washington, D.C., somebody went and decided to bother me for some reason. I was going to a high-profile celebrity church, and during the impeachment trials for the Clintons, a lot of weird stuff happened in the black church. Somebody should research that I was going through. A lot of weird stuff happened during the impeachment trials, and it ain't never been the same again. And I have never, studied the correlation to accountability for people in Washington and a weird attacks on Pastor Sanders' baby daughter. What's that about? So, like I said, this summer I'll be 52. I've lived from New York, from Michigan to here. Middle class black America my whole life. And have no idea. We've been to court. Over my lifetime, we've been to court. We've been to court. And we've prevailed in quite a bit. We saw that a lot of people was misrepresenting what has started and who authorized it is what I found. Is that bubble gum? Did bubble gum tell you that? Does Forrest Gump tell you that? Run around the country saying that about pizza. This will be live on Facebook. Live on Facebook. So we continue to just enjoy ourselves. We continue
doing okay over there?
Oh, I'm good. We continue to enjoy ourselves. What we're looking at internships. Opportunity to study all over the world at a doctorate level. So my cap and gown just came for my graduation and my hood for my master's in public administration from American Public University. And I was over at my office. And I was in tears. Are you hearing me? I was at my office and I was just in tears. And, you know, we had to secure when our dissertation, how we wanted to do our dissertation, and we're going to do it for there in the meeting room with Smart TV, which I'm telling people is the options for you looking for a place to argue out your dissertation manuscript. And end of this year, into next year, we're going to start our dissertation training. And so we continue
just excelled. I mean, we remember sitting at Michigan Rehabilitation Services and asking the worker for just remember back in 2009, we was like after our car accident and stuff, when we started wanting to take them up on all the stuff they were mailing me from the government for people who are disabled. And I went and I said, any job. I said anything. I said I could do anything. I said even a file clerk. I said anything, because who I am, eventually you're gonna go up. I said anything. And she said, Miss Sanders, you got this huge gap in your employment. We need for you to go back to school. I had just had a high school education, but I did well in secretarial and clerical and customer service work, and that was all. I said anything, Girl Friday, anything. Miss Sanders, you got to go back to school. Devastated. I had planned to go back to school, but not right then. Let's just say, well, what had started and what I was going through, I'm like, school, test, classroom, with different people with their biases, that young. And you remember, I was in my late 30s. It was unbelievable. So I went to school, signed up, and started a general business associate's degree. And I was like, wow, I could not believe what started about that. My first class got a name. This is on campus. This has got an A on campus. On campus classes. This is not virtual. This is not just commercial. Got a next class, next. Finally, I get an invitation from Phi Beta Kappa to come and join the top international 2-year honor society. And I signed up and I went to the induction. I said, oh my God, one of the best days of my entire life. It was all that. I had never been to an induction ceremony before. I was just like going crazy. It was so beautiful. We had to hold a candle. They gave us all this stuff to say. Then when they called your name up, you had to come with the candle, light your candle before you went to go sit down. They gave you this big giant feather pen that you have to sign your name in, and then you stood for your photo ops, and then you went and sat down. They had more stuff for us to say. Then they had cake and punch and stuff. It was wonderful. Who was there at Charles Spurman? Some of the faculty, some of my teachers was the advisors. It was beautiful. Oh, absolutely a very beautiful ceremony. Now we're not only Phi Beta Kappa graduate, but we're Golden Key International. They had their issues in there. And Delta Mu Delta. The sign of the Mu, I'm not too far. But Delta Mu Delta, so we enjoyed ourselves. I'm saving, like my other stall, I think just came from Golden Key International for graduation ceremonies for last year. I said I couldn't do it last year. I said I'm going to do it this year, so I'm registered for both. To go there and get stuff put aside for there, or here and do the virtual. I said whatever works out, but I registered for both. I said my big thing is a one more year, the huge one for my doctorate. To literally have Dr. Yvette Wonderland Sanders or Dr. Bathsheba Gaborum. I said I could say Yvette Wonderland Sanders. Legally, no, I cannot use that name since it's been changed by the courts. I petitioned the courts. Once that's changed, you can't go back and forth inside your name. You can play with your own name, but my legal name is Bathsheba Rebecca Gaborum. The name Yvette Wonderland Sanders has been discontinued. That was only my decision. When a lot of people came on, and I'm like, now, all the fighting that I just did, and another level of goofy, it was no reason. And I said, I can't. So I shut the name down, and we took on a complete biblical name so we can make it clear. You're on your way to hell. Lying, slander, making up stories, talking all this demonic mess. A lot of people about church stuff. This guy they were talking about is my brother, fiance, family that went to the church and that worked for Flint PD. So all the time they talk about these people at work, they're all associated with church folks that was in relationship with my brothers. So I have no idea what they're talking about. No idea what they're referring to. And it continued to almost be a comedy. And that's why I said, well, the first thing they teach you in elementary school, no ankle biting, no name calling, don't bite and don't hit. One of the main things they teach and they tell you. So when you have people that go around name calling and hitting, as I said, first of all, understand your classification is based on a scientific and medical terminology that will be upheld in the court of law internationally. Hate speech, racial slurs is not a scientific classification of anybody. It shows an unacceptable bias that exclude that person from the rest of society membership, where they are not using those type of verbal biases or identifiers that they have to be excluded because they are violently biased at this person. They are not qualified, nor should they be trusted. They are a high risk of causing altercations and problems and incidents. So when you're dealing with people that are at high risk for causing you and your business altercations, they need to put some type of crisis disaster management of what could happen because of these type of people that have you and your business at high risk for retaliation. So like I said, being black and African American, as God said, black as the tints of Kedar, I am beautiful. And when you know the word of God, it expelled the witch. When you know the word of God, it said heaven and earth shall pass away. But when the Bible says, when God has spoken and said, I am black and beautiful, Solomon was a type of Christ. So when we're talking about resurrecting Jesus today, we have to represent all the identifiers of what was said. There was some calling him the Prince of Lies. There was some calling him, and the power he did things, Beelzebub. There was some calling him a wine bibber, saying he drunk too much. A baby drinker. But however, God called him a king when he was laying in the manger. Everybody look and say homeless. And what was so sad, it wasn't that there wasn't resources, it was a bias. Everybody know the masonry of the places he went to probably said, hey, the Messiah is coming, and if he come, and all the lines to put up their ends and to put up their business if the Messiah came. Soon as here is pregnant Mary in an emergency, in a crisis, all the things she need for this baby, also you need us. We don't have room. I left a pregnant woman to have her baby out on the ground in the dirt with animals. And while they left them out there homeless, shelterless, and the world looked to say, all they want to say about homeless people. Everybody know Jesus was walking it out for me and you. So he can be touched with the feeling of what has touched us. So they have a good depiction of how to judge someone and what they're saying. He wanted to be able to feel it and to beat it in to the books of heaven for judgment day. The first judgment and the second judgment. Do Mary and Joseph know what it feels like to be ridiculed, talked about, or brought to tears and shame when they didn't even have room for what they had to do? Not who had to go sell drugs, but what God and Mary had to do. All my Bible scholars, gone. All my academic scholars who have studied history, just because you love knowledge, gone. Because we know they ain't passing nobody test. They ain't fooling nobody. Oh, glory to God. Nobody over there mad. What is mad for? Can't stand one Benjamin, let alone two. Can't stand one Benjamin resurrected on today. You hear what I'm saying? Can't stand one Benjamin resurrected. Said, oh, let it be a couple. So I came out the house with just one. So went and just some play stuff, looking around, just walk around with cash and thing. Just laughing. You really can't keep a good man down. Amen. So we good. I'll take that one home. All right. Hell no. But woo, Jesus. I said the things that I do make sense, and like I said, holds up in the court of law. The things that I do is measurable, and there is support of who told me to do it, who allowed me to do it, who wrote it into policy to do it. And so when you have the documented record of globally and nationally who told me what I do and who authorized what I do, then you get when you need to ask for 2 pieces of ID and call Border Patrol and check and see if there's an escape con, and systems where they have people lock themselves up and other people lock them up, and they open and unlock the door and get paid to do crime and prostitution. You know, there's a crime world, there's a witchcraft world, there's a hustle. But us law-abiding citizens just have to pray grace and mercy, because it's the plan of the Lord to manage all of this. and to be respectful of free will. While we say people are in the valley of decision and God is trying to win souls. But while he's trying to win souls, there is spiritual warfare that they like to deny. They went and made up while God managed the logistics of free will, because he don't make robots, that he has no right to defend himself in the creation that is a Christian. Or others who have not yet come into some level of knowledge, and he already know what he's working out for them to come into an understanding of, that people are just judgmental and just going like everything only about you. Or your little four groups. And there's an all-loving creator that is responsible for creation. And all living species and organism and things that he has made in society, including the environment. You don't go to a plant and say any and everything to a plant that you want it to grow. You don't go to a flower bed and plant. Everything that you do, there is a science and a reasoning behind why you do it, because it's supposed to be a part of being productive. Whatever you're doing, it's supposed to be productive, as we are all interdependent and all interrelated, that you watch what you do to people. And you just don't make up lies and stories when the Bible tells us we're blessed when we be like Jesus. We're blessed when we be like Christ. Are you hearing me? Give me Matthew 5. And I feel a little like I got a little gift of gab tonight to just talk it out. We might not be able to get it. Hold on. You know, see, we get Matt 5. Ain't no Matt 5. What we on? We gonna preach that around the corner. No, it's on my at-home Wi-Fi, still on my phone. Some of these places, sometimes it'll stay on, but there's sometimes you go place it, it turns on my home Wi-Fi with my landline phone. And Satan, the Lord rebuke you. I'm a daughter of Zion. Is that all? Satan, I'm not who you say I am. God said Bathsheba Rebecca Huckabee. When I went before the court signed on it. God said Bathsheba Rebecca Huckabee. Don't nobody care about you hate people because you talking about somebody look down on you. Is that all? We already explained. I will not apologize as God pushes you up in life. When they talk and you look around, you find yourself looking down and say, stop talking down to us. If God promotes you and puts you on a pedestal, what is you going to do? When we be blushing, we walk in a room and your record, you ain't a hoe. You ain't got no dope in your veins. You ain't on that stuff. You're not on the corner. You ain't killed nobody. You ain't got kids up under your bed in a paddock room. And people looking around like, oh, that ain't one of us. Yeah, it's on Cox Wi-Fi. They're looking and saying, security. Can't you turn the password off? I could turn it. Yeah. I don't see a complimentary one for their service. That's unusual. Most restaurants have it. But yeah, I've only been here one other time, and I am not sure why they don't allow or either I just ate fountain. Sometimes do not disturb is they might or whatever. It then automatically went right back to my Cox Wi-Fi at home. Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, I don't see a gas bubble going fine. But we just want y'all to know that God said for you or his sons was about peace. Yes, he did. God said that his sons was for peace, about peace. And he said that if you were a peacemaker, you would be blessed, because blessed was the peacemakers, for there shall be the Son of God. And something is wrong with you when you always for war instead of coming for peace. Something is wrong with you. When God can't trust you to just be a kind person, what's wrong with you? That you is something is so bad that you can't sit up there something is wrong with you when people, something is wrong with you when people try to figure you out and they can't figure you out. My God, there it is. God is teaching us hidden mysteries. God is teaching us hidden mysteries and things. God is showing a vision. God is teaching us right now that the devil can't fool nobody. Every confusion is a type of puzzle. Every secret place that they try to hide their evil and try to do, God, like Batman, is going to come and save the day. Are you hearing me? God is not going to ever let you be alone. God is putting the missing pieces of you and your life back together. God is going to bat for you. Do you know one of the main reasons why bats are synonymous with hell? How quick they can get out of one. Whew. It's not that you can't get in a hot situation. It's do you have the connection, the tie, the skill, and ability? I remember somebody started talking years ago when the Batman was out and I was in New York about bat DNA. And researching bat DNA, and I didn't know what I was going. We're talking about people was going around in my life researching. First thing I had in 2015 when I came here, that giant thing from El Diamante. Like, this ain't Chi-Chi's. I don't think I'm supposed to be in here. I was the only black person. It was a French-Mexican place. And I'm sitting here, what is a French-Mexican? And I'm looking, I'm like, I don't know. Everything was in another language. The only thing that literally was American said chicken fingers and fries in the kids' menu. I ordered that one, got that, and asked the lady, I said, what is the top drink in here? I said, bring me some. She brought me this giant, it was like a goblet this big, and it was like a Bloody Mary with a Modelo upside down, and it had chilies and sugar and stuff on the top, and it had like vegetables and stuff on it. It was like a Bloody Mary, and it was spices in there. And I said, I am now an adult. After I drank the whole thing, I said, I am now an adult. And it had fruit juice and Modelo, the most adult drink I have ever had in my life. And that was the first time I ever had a Modelo. No, this isn't a Modelo. This is Corona. So no, this is not it. It was a Modelo in it, upside down. So yeah, I just recently, the first time I had this, I thought it was a Modelo. It was, so I didn't have a Coronita. I thought it was Modelo. But let me tell you something. God is fixing the problems in your life. Everything that you've been through was just to slowly put one piece of your life and to restore it. Instead of these gaping pieces that is just irritating, that you just won't fix. Some pieces you try to jam in just to act like it fit. And God said, you know good and well that piece don't go there. Get rid of it. It goes someplace else. That's not where it's supposed to be. You can't have the foot jammed at the top where the head. If it's not supposed to be there, you can't have the side jammed at the other side where the hand is. God is saying He is putting things in order in your life. And the Lord was dealing with me. We dealt with the Garden of Gethsemane and the vows of a Nazarene. And the vows of the Nazarene not to cut their hair. And all of the things that was represented that ranked Christ and the rankings in the spirit world of those with their vows and kept their vows, that was absolutely important to what God was preparing and even knighting Christ for on His knees in the Garden of Gethsemane. And this is why we begin to laugh, because though they were mocking God during the crucifixion, they didn't understand the hair above His knees and the things that God had sent and did to Him while He was being anointed for the next phase of His kingdom in the garden. What is your garden experience that God wants to put you in remembrance of? That God tells people, remember the promise of God. People sacrifices, some of them have slid and backslid and stayed. And there's some time, some fasting, some prayers, some church service, some grandma laying hands, some mother's father laying on hands. And God is on Easter, Resurrection Sunday, putting you in remembrance. Yeah, bless. Put you in remembrance. Are you hearing me? Of the ranking that is already over you, that the devil cannot take you out of here till God complete the next phase of what He has already promised. Not only to you, but to your bloodline. Not only to you, to your people. There is something in the body of Christ and in the earth that is waiting on you. This is a job for something that is not just any old body. Somebody that God has incubated for such as a time as this. Some things that they almost like you was undercover and they had to take your mind and lock your mind out of knowing, and then put you into secret missions to just say, now wake them up and remember who they are and what side you're on. Just like Moses and the basket that was on the side in the house of the whole thing. The Pharaoh. Do you know how many people talk about they can't come live here, walk around here, they can't do what other people do? You know how many people come to Vegas and travel and do it and go around the world and can't do? God got some secret people for whatever reason. You have an unusual skill and ability to infiltrate and go into places that other people cannot go. Why? Because He wants you to remember. Why you don't let nobody in a pulpit that don't even know who you are? And maybe carrying the word of people like, don't you talk about Pastor? And God sent him, said, that man been a false prophet. That man been a wolf in sheep clothing. But even the Apostle Paul said, I just glory that the gospel is being preached and spread. And God got little hidden Davids and dynamites sitting in the pulpit, getting fed in that word and looking around, making assessment, praying about what they see, going telling and talking to the Spirit about what they see, and walking out, and God said, you don't even know the whole thing was orbiting around what God had for you to do right there. You walking in, they swear you the wayward one. And God have you come in so you and what you've been through can re-anoint the whole thing. Add value and bring the wealth. You go to give off and the whole church will start moving. The pastor all of a sudden start people looking at you. They need more money for this and that. And here you come. But you catch them someplace, that ain't nobody. I don't know who that is. I was sitting somewhere across this person. They were dogging me. I didn't even know who you was. I used to stand behind the person who he's talking about and be on the other side. And they'll be sitting there asking for his autograph. And the man will be screaming, where that? Where that? And I would be, and my eyes be like this, trying. It would be embarrassing. I'm like, what is? And I didn't know what it was. And I'm sitting up there. So when all this other stuff went on, and I'm sitting there with this other well-known girl mother, and she could sing, and we're sitting there. He's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't do none of the stuff. What you accuse me of is like the president of Monica Lewinsky. I say, is this so-and-so minister, so-and-so sister? He said, is this so-and-so? He said, yeah. He said, I don't even know who you are. This was 1999. And everything I've been, I was like, okay. And so I pray God bring you into the knowledge of the truth. So I ain't said nothing. So I wouldn't send you these signals. I ain't even attracted to you. I didn't say nothing from nowhere about you, and I ain't seen you no set. I don't send signals. Said that's crazy. And when he said, I said, why the Clintons? And just dropped my, Bill. I didn't even know what was going on. The discussions and stuff. I didn't keep up with everything in Washington. And I'm just looking. So what you accused me of is like just a lot of weird stuff. Wow, this stuff had just started. And do you know a lot of stuff been going on since that time in 2000? What is this? It's Easter Resurrection Sunday, 2024, and I am better. Do you 10 classes away from being a doctor of business administration with a concentration on IO psychology, for my own consulting business, and to be a professor, to be able to teach online, and if I want to, I could teach if I want to go in school and be a professor. Could you imagine in my 60s, or in a couple of years now, in my late 50s, to walk in a classroom somewhere, and a graduate? I said the worst. I said maybe I would do a bachelor. I prefer master courses, but some of these schools, they sometimes don't have all the body they want, so they might want you to teach undergraduate and graduate, as long as it's college level. And see, here come Dr. G, here come Dr. BG. Insane. After I changed my name, I said the worst of it is by the end of next year, Dr. BG is now from Yvette Sanders to Dr. BG. It's the worst. It's like, can somebody add some value to that? And so, I might BG like Dr. Big. The middle name Rebecca, Dr. BRG, Dr. Bridge, take it to the bridge. Is that all? So we're just laughing that is all that I am dealing with on my plate, is that my best and greatest days is yet to come and ahead of me. And God has had me incubated in this wonderful time of why these very weird people have done just bizarre. It's not normal. The words and the way their mind works is not normal. And I said, we have no reason said, I've been in this earth 51 years. It's been me and the Bible. I said, I haven't focused on dating. I haven't focused on men. I have only focused on Christ. Do you hear me? This is Bishop. Bishop said, how do you do? You're putting that up. Bishop Bugsy. You know, we worked at the Mob Museum and they had cops and robbers. And they had you pick out whether or not you were a cop or a robber. And you had to figure it out, fill out a questionnaire to get your mob name. My two mob names at the Mob Museum. One is Old Blue Eyes and the other one, The Gun. And I fell out laughing. I said, that's nice, Old Blue Eyes. So I can see Jesus everywhere you go. But we just thank God that our time here has been actually very educational. I have been invited to come back and to continue to volunteer at the Law Enforcement and Mob Museum as when I was being interviewed to work there way before the speakeasy was put in the basement, that it was just fascinating, the education that you got there, learning the background to a lot of the laws that we have now after all of the wars with these big mobsters and the police in the early 1900s. Because a lot of the mob, the famous one, became famous after 1933, after Prohibition, and a lot of things that was going on around that time. And so we are just